Hello and welcome to Coffee and Cards, September 2025 with me, Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, which I keep forgetting to say. And this month we're on week 3 and we're using this amazing embossing folder. And today I'm going to use a blending technique. Now I've seen a few people use this on different embossing folders, but I thought I'd do it on this one, and it's a spotlight technique. So we've got a little die cut here which I embossed at the same time but not stuck down, and then I've blended some colours on it, which I'll show you how in a minute, and then glued it back on. Now I've also seen this done with how amazing is this? So done it with some, this is gold foil. You can do it with any sort of foil you want. Now this, I glued the gold foil on first and then embossed it, and then this I thought I'd perhaps add that to a different card. So just on its own without the other embossing as a focal point. So we shall have a think. Let's add a bash this card. Been manhandling it while I've been doing all my prep. So, but again, you know, don't just think it's just card and coloured card. We can also use it on our foils and it just looks amazing. There's so much detail there. So again, another technique for you to think about. I'll pop that off to one side. So today, sorry they're dinging, I've also used the Happy Birthday from the Wanted to Say dies, which I know certainly my coffee and card ladies have got, because I've used this set twice in a coffee and card for 2 different months, and then birthday celebrations, which I used a few months ago. Not everybody got that one, so I've just cut you out the flag so that you can do this technique with this, the same shape as I've got. You could do any die cut shape. Do a circle, do a square, do anything, triangle, flower, whatever you want. So it's a really versatile technique and you can use any colour you want. So I'm thinking I used Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight on this one, and I embossed and rubbed, and then I've done it on the basic white and then cut out the birthday as well. Today I've gone for the in colours because I know a lot of you have got these. So last year's in colours, Peach Pie Pretty and Pink and Petunia Pop. Let's see how that looks. But use any colour you want. I've used a Night of Navy card base and white card, so you can just do what you feel. So let's pop those to one side. I will need the Happy Birthday in a minute. Right, so I've used basic rhinestones. I've given you a strip of 3 in yours. Oh yeah, going back to last week, found the circle. It was on the floor, and on this example I'd forgotten, I'd done the ink swiping on the emboss side, but I'd also done it on the deboss side, and that's how it works on the deboss side. So again, do it on either side and it still looks amazing. Yeah, anyway, right, this one. So don't need that circle for this card. I needed it last week. It was on the floor. So you've got your diamantes. You've got a piece for your sentiment. You've got 2 pieces of white at the same side, one for the front, one for inside. And they are, 14.4 by 10, because I'm not putting a second layer underneath. And then your basic 21 by 14.85 card base, scored halfway at 10.5 centimetres, and your lovely Stampin' Up envelope. Right, so let's get started. I'll put all of that on one side. I just need these things here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, probably the first thing I'm going to do actually is get the Big Shot out, because my Stampin' Cup, mine is a Big Shot, but Stampin' Up one, do a similar one, and I'm using Stampin' Up platforms. Right, okay, so that's ready for my embossing folder. So this time you want your front side. Ooh. Let me just double check. Yes, so you want to position that, and you want to be able to see both your little flag and the Stampin' Up logo, and it doesn't really matter where you put it as long as you're happy with where you've got your little flag. So and I moved. If you wanted to, in fact, no, I'm going to be fine. You could put a little bit of temporary adhesive on the flag to hold it in place, but I'm happy with that. So I'm now going to emboss them both together, and that flag needs to be where you want to put it on the finished card. Okay, so again, just ones through, hinge first, plates number 1 and 4. You've heard it all before. Right, and there we go. So let's put that away. Those 2. And then we've got our tab and our backing piece. And you do have to really look. You can just see there with the eye of faith. Don't know if you can on the camera, there's a little line there where this went, but it's actually quite easy to, once you've roughly found out where it goes, it sort of locks into place once you've done your blending, which we're going to do now. Okay, so let's see, I'm trying to decide, that's an orangey, so we'll leave that for the orangey, and I'm going to do it the other way this time. I'm going to start with a pop of pink here. Not the pop, petunia pop even. At the top. Okay, so I'm just picking up a little bit of the ink, just getting off the worst and then coming in. And you can see again the raised bits will be darker than the flatter bits. Just doing the top, sort of just over a third, because you want the colours to blend. And I am pressing quite hard as well. Right, okay. So then we'll go pretty in pink. Not with that one, with this one. And then we'll go. So these are coming out perhaps a bit more subtle than the original ones. It's nice to have a play. Do different colours. And the best way with blending is to just build up layers. Don't just try and do it all in one go. So less is more, because you can build up, you can't take it away, and if you, the smoother blend, you'll get a much smoother blend if you do it slowly. Okay, and then we will come in with the peach pie. Which I've decided I'm going to use this one. The ink pad came like this. It hasn't seemed to have altered its performance at all. I think it just must be the way this one was inked. It still stamps beautifully, despite the blotchiness. So I'm just going back over the petunia pop, no, the pink, pretty in pink, just to blend those two. And then I am going to come back in on the petunia to try and get a bit more colour on there, or another layer of, whoops, it's not shutting, another layer of colour on there. So I'm just going to use the edge of the brush this time, to see if I can get in between. Okay. Also, normally, because I'm rushing, I would put a post-it note on the bit I've already inked rather than putting fingerprints on it. Our ink does dry very quickly, but you don't want your fingerprints on your work. There we go, I'm happy with that now. And then what I need to do is the same with my little piece for the sentiment, which is here. So I'm going to go back in with the Petunia Pop, and I'm just going to do 3 stripes of inking here. So do be careful with your inks when you're doing this. First of all, 2 tips. First of all, get it from all over, because we're so fond of using just the middle. Take off the worst and come on, but when you first come on, very gently, just holding the end of the brush, because some inks come in really dark very quickly and others take much more layers. And the ones you don't think, because you'd have thought this really dark colour would have gone straight away really dark, and it hasn't. And then the lighter colours, like the petal pink, actually is coming out quite dark. So I'd love to know why, but I don't. So again, picking up ink from all over the ink pad and coming in and doing another 3rd. Again, it's going down like that. I seem to be able to build this one up more than the other one. It is all trial and error with blending, but the key is take your waste off or your excess off and repeatedly thin layers. Build up your colour. There we go. And then finally going to come in with the 3rd colour. To give the rainbow sentiment. That round, taking off the worst, coming off from the edge. And then where it feels a little light, go through it a couple of times and then just blend the 2 colours together as well. You see, yeah, the peach pie is the one that's gone on the quickest. Right, so I'm now going to get my mini die cutter, which is by my side, and I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to assemble the card. When it's time for new plates, when your die cuts are sticking to the plate. There's too many grooves, so it's holding on to them. Look how cute that is. Lots of little pieces, so I'm not putting that away now. I'm going to clean that after I've finished. Okay, so it's nice and clean. Happy. What I love about this one is the eye is attached, so you can't lose it. Right, so let's pop this together. I've just got another little. You're going to come out without, you are. Excellent. So as I said, you're matching this to this bit here. So glue, glue, glue. And I can see that there's a little line there, and also those are where the petals are. So I'm just putting it roughly in the right place and then twisting it until it stays. And that means I am all matched up. You can blend before you emboss and stick it on, but the trouble with that is you won't get the texture the same. And then we just need to add these on. So I shall get my Tombow in my pin glue and do some little bit of dotting. Don't forget to get your corners and your long bits. It's taking its time to come out. Okay, pop the lid back on so it doesn't gum up, and get my tweezers. So I'm just going to pop that just there. I'm loving the like ice cream colours of that. It's really spring, isn't it? And then same again with this. Just popping that in there to finish it off. I'm really liking that choice of colour. That is gorgeous. And the difference between these two as well is this one I actually inked after I cut it out, because I didn't think about doing it until after I cut it out. So, which you can do, but I think I prefer, you're not getting as many harsh edges if you ink it before you cut it out. There we go. Right, so I just need my card base. So let's pop the inside piece on. The one thing I haven't actually tried in all of this is embossing, is using on vellum. I bet that's amazing. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up don't do any vellum anymore, but there are lots of places to do, and this would look fantastic on vellum. The embossing folder, that is. Right. I haven't tried blending ink on vellum. I think probably the only problem is it would take a while to dry, because vellum is not an absorbent paper. So the ink tends to sit on the top for a while. Maybe I should try that. Oops, too far over. Let's pick. This is a joy of wet glue, as you can pick it up and move it. And you put it too far to one side. There we go, that's better. Yes. I was thinking I got a bigger border than I had. Right, and then we just need to get my gems, which are here, and I just use 3 of the smaller ones. Let's use these 3 that are escaping up here. This one. These are just the basic rhinestones, which are so sparkly. Chasing it around. There's the 3rd one. And there we go. So that's 2 different colourways. Very different effects. You could use the same colourway we used in the other card, in the swiping card. So like the Azure, Afternoon, Coastal Cabana and Balmy Blue, that would work as well. Again, I've used a navy blue this time, so Night of Navy card base, so that you can choose what colours you want. So take care, and I shall see you for week 4 next week. Bye.